Hello there, beautiful internet and you superb creatures of the beyond that love art and want to make beautiful art as always. So, I thought we should do a Smexy landscape composition, which is mm, going to include some more things than we did last time. Let me see if I can find. Okay, so we did last time something like this, which is not bad. It's quite adorable. Obviously, the moon is a bit cheesy, but it's kind of, I don't know, static, very. You can see very clearly that it's a collage rather than anything else. And it's not bad. I really love it. It's very simple, very expressive. But I thought, maybe we can do something even better. And I have been testing a few new techniques, especially on the clouds, which I did say they are the hardest thing to do in any composition. But I've also kind of have an idea of what we can do to make it a bit more expressive. Because right now, what we did here is okayish. I think we also did this at one point. Yeah, this one wasn't very um, yeah, we didn't do a great job on this one, and it's just very dual tone. Well, no, it has more tones than that, but it wasn't bad. It was just very flat, simple, and again, expressive, beautiful, interesting. I'm not saying it's something that I hate that I've created. In fact, it's quite for me. It's nice. It does give me a nice feeling when I watch this. But again, too simplistic, and we want to do something more smexy. So I've gotten myself some interesting references over here. Um, just images to give me a feeling of what we can do. And for example, if we check this one, we see that there is a lot of yellow, orange. Well, there's a ton of colors. We're not gonna dwell in so many of them, but then there's something interesting here. The infrared, just infrared. Well, the color spectrum goes um, to this violet, dark violet, or dark purple. I'm not sure, something like that. It's a dark violet, violet blue. So I'm gonna play with these three colors, and then we shall see. Maybe we will try to blend in some of these colors within the environment, but obviously we're gonna retain some of the colors of the ground, and maybe I'll just do silhouettes again because making green, yeah, this have a lot of the pine trees have a lot of textures and stuff, so I'm gonna simplify them. I'm not gonna focus too much on the foreground. Now this is important because we see here a composition where like between 25, 30 to 35% of the image is covered by the foreground, this part, and the far background, including the sky, is covered by uh, the rest of the elements, including the sun. This one is kind of a centered element, and this is interesting. When you're making art, art is like writing, I don't know, story. And in the story, you kind of want to guide the reader towards where you want the reader to focus. So the same kind of happens with your composition. So do you want the viewer to just jump at the sun and say, now my eyes are resting here? Then slowly, well, this one is kind of symmetrical because you see the peaks are kind of on the same side. It's a very nice composition, but again, the very first thing that jumps into your face is the sun. So you can kind of usually eyes, as I said, read from top left to the bottom right. So you can kind of get a feeling of how you want to maneuver the eyes. Obviously, from here we can see the background, but it's kind of diffused by the color, by the strong color rays. So you're kind of jumping into the foreground here and then taking in all of the background. So you're taking it in layers in a way. Maybe even the sky is more stronger than this, the diffuse colors of these ones. So again, playing around how you want to make the composition. For example, here you're gonna look at the composition from the top right because it's the most preeminent element, and then go into the valley and see this lower part. But of course, there are other compositions, like this one is 50-50. Well, this one doesn't have much of a sun anywhere, does it? And the striking thing is first the top part, and then you transition into this endless lake here. Then you have more foreground elements that blend into the background, but this one is a bit trickier to achieve because this one is not at your eye level, is kind of a elevated level, like from a drone view. This one is also a drone view. So mostly of what I've did was avoiding foreground to be more proeminent. So we're gonna test some things. This is a very beautiful composition, and I think I might do something in this manner, like we should position the sun somewhere here on the right. The colors are superb, and as I said, this violet blue is blending in with the rest. Although here it's already kind of night, but it's a very, very beautiful composition. And we can play with how we want to place the elements. Again, the foreground, well, this is almost 50-50, but this is just the geometry, topology of the landscape. This one focuses very much on the foreground and less on the background. Well, this one looks more photoshopped if you look at it. This one focuses pretty much on the foreground is almost non-existent, and it automatically kind of transitions into this background, which is quite cute, but again, too many things that are confusing the eye. This one focuses a lot on the background and how it merges, because here the background is 50%, the sky is 50%, and again, the sun. It's a very good composition, in my opinion. While this one looks photoshopped. It's probably not, but it does look photoshopped. Um, So yeah, there are many, many, many ways to do your composition. Maybe I'm kind of 50-50 on doing something to this. You have a very strong foreground, although this is 50-50. So maybe I'll lower the foreground a bit, but try to kind of put this far background and mix in with the sunset, and we shall see. Oh, I'm not sure if we're gonna do something exactly like this. This is quite a big river, but an interesting thing. Um, Many, many ideas how you can do your composition. This one is also quite awesome. Very simplistic. Mount Fiji. Oh no, large mountain. It's not Fiji. I'm sorry. My, I'm a little bit rusty. Ah, yeah, we can look on this for hours and hours and hours and try to com- to decipher everything and tell the story of each little image and so on. But every image has its own feeling, its own story, its own everything. Oh, this one is cool. So I'm gonna leave this here in the background, and we're going to focus here. Now, there are various ways you can do this. The way I did it, I set up a background color. So if I disable the mask, You see this background color. Since we're gonna work with a rather light composition in color, I'm gonna make the background black so it kind of focuses on the color tone better, because it's the sunset kind of mutes a lot of the colors. Well, depending on how much the sun is down, or we shall see, but the colors will be more daunted. And I just made a sketch to kind of see where I want to put the horizon. In this case, it's gonna be around 25 to 30% around here. And then we'll add other things. There is another way to set this. So for example, right now I'm not working with the page, but if you really want to work with the page and avoid doing the mask and blah, 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 and do it all in one go, then there is a very simple solution to that. You just go into the page properties, Control Shift D, and here you have this option to clip to page. Well, obviously, you would have to make a different color for the page, for example, give the correct dimensions. In this case, I went with 1920s by 1080s, and you can set it up the same here, and then you can set clip and it will kind of act as a mask. But the problem with this is that you don't have an alpha here. Although there is an alpha value here, you can't change it. I'm not sure exactly how this was meant to work. So yeah, it's a bit kind of a hassle. So I decided not to go this route. And what the heck? Take the color of this, please. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Okay, never mind. We fixed it. So yeah, then you can get yourself a border if you want, the checkboard if you really want that, and so on and so forth. So I do it this way because I feel I have more control over my elements, and I can sometimes maybe I want something outside of the mask to pop around on the side, and I can bring it in and out. Depends, but I feel I have more control this way. So I made the sketch. So this is gonna be the ground level. This is gonna be the sky level. Probably not these colors, of course, but since we're in the sketch, we're just gonna make a few simple elements. So I'm gonna make here a mountain. I don't know, let's make it like so. Oh, inside. What are you doing? So the sky needs to be under the ground. And the ground needs to be above the mountain. Okay. So I would say I would put a mountain over here. Then maybe I'll make mountains all around here, something like so. Make this one a bit bigger. I have snap involved. Maybe one over here somewhere, smaller. I don't know. And maybe some over here, smaller like so. And then obviously we need the sun, which is gonna be kind of yellowish, something like this. Maybe quite prominent in color. Hmm. We shall see. I don't know. I kind of like it bit yellow, but very white because that's when it is its strength intensity of the red colors are the most. Obviously, we would not be able to perceive the entire color spectrum of the sun because of our eye uh, limitations. But if you look directly, it's gonna see quite burning white, something like an orangish, more like, I don't know, just an idea. But in order to, we can't just make it like this and say, ah, perfect. We kind of have to blend in the mountains with the background. So we're going to do, I don't know, some, let me check some references here. Which ones? Kind of like, mm, we could go with some small hills that go a little bit like so. Maybe a bit darker. And they go underneath the earth. Maybe the earth should be a bit larger. Okay. And this kind of simulates what's in the distance. Or maybe we can kind of raise it all. Let's see. Something like this. I don't know. This is just an idea. But then we also want a river around here. I don't know. Most compositions have some kind of water body because the thing is, water is like a mirror. So it can reflect the sky and obviously the sun and the colors from the sun. And it gives this impression of more breathing room when actually you have so many claustrophobic things happening. So you can either put a lot of forest in the foreground and it feels very dense, or you can lush the forest to the sides and put this body of water like a mirror and give this impression that you have far more space because of the mirroring. Or at least that's how I see it. So if I would do the water, it would be something, I don't know. We could put some foreground elements as well to help us with the water. Mm, maybe a little larger. And we can make this quite a light blue. Maybe a bit more desaturated. Something like this. Mm. We can add more colors. Maybe even lighter. I kind of like this. And fortunately, kind of need to manually set it up where I want it. Anyway, so I kind of like what I see here. Obviously, we can even add some landmass and Mm, we could, for example, add a bit of length mass over here, maybe a bit more angle. And make it a bit darker. And I don't know, maybe some on this side as well. Something like this. It doesn't have to be perfect. This can be some part of the foreground. And then we can just add some trees. I'm just gonna make some conical stuff. We can add a tree over here. And let's make him, I don't know, like this. Or maybe, I don't know, darker. I don't know, something like this. And then we can add some more trees in the distance. And of course make the forest extend to that side, but nothing too strong. We can add some bushes around the river. Maybe add some on this side as well. Nothing too crazy. Obviously, we can also extend the forest on this side. And from here, we just have to play with how we want to make the composition stand out. Because we either push colors that reflect on some surfaces depending how much it went behind the mountains. And I really want to push the mountain details. I want to make some super powerful details. And we might spend more time on some details because there's so many ways you can do this. But then there are some amazing things we can do. Maybe this water can be a bit larger here. Because you know the river is very fluid, so it's not jaggedy. It has to have its own serpentine elements. And here I'm just kind of cutting it through by the foreground. But who knows? Well, at least this is the sketch. This is what we're going for. So the mountains can go as high as they want, but not outside the frame with their peaks. The water is gonna stay here, and then we're gonna kind of blend it in with the background a bit. Maybe add a bit more forest around. Who knows? We'll see. But that's the least of my issues. My issues are gonna be the clouds. The clouds are killing me. Wish I would have simple solutions for the clouds. I mean, I do have simple solutions, but they're not the best. So with the sketch done, we're gonna lock it, and let's lower its opacity to. Oh, I can't lower its opacity. Ooh. Oh, I can. Can I? Yeah, I can. So let's go to maybe 10%, just to have an idea. Okay, so first things first, we are going to start with the sun. So since I'm gonna lock the sketch, we're gonna do, so this is how my composition looks right now. Background is locked. The sketch here is at 10%. And in the mask, we're going to create a new group. But to do that, we need to first create a shape inside the mask. So I think we should do the sun a bit bigger. Obviously, it's gonna have full opacity. So I'm gonna go again with a very powerful light. Now there are ways we can think that would do it. Maybe more towards the red. Yeah, a bit more towards the red. And then somewhere here, I would tend to make it a bit desaturated, but I think as bright as possible, maybe even more towards the yellow. Let's leave it as it is. I'm just gonna give it as a shape. So I'm gonna put it around here. Now, there is one thing. The sun can get deformed by the sky. So there is this kind of effect of a magnifying glass. And when it goes to the edge, you can see kind of this deformation. So we could technically just push the sun a tiny bit like this. Not a lot, but just a tiny bit. And it makes it just perfect, like a little melon. Good. Good. So, I'm kind of debating what should I start with. Should I start with the foreground or the background? I kind of want to start with the background, mainly because it has a lot of proportions. So the foreground has more details, so we'll have to spend more time on that. But the background also has details, but less, and we kind of have to see where we want to place it. So, hmm. Complicated. Maybe the sun is a bit too big. Let's make it a bit smaller. So let's try to make, well, let's organize ourselves. This is gonna be the elements of the composition. So this is gonna be the sun. Melon sun. Why not? Let's just have a little bit of fun with it. And I think I'm gonna push the blur a bit with it. Not that's too much. 10%. Just make it a bit, I don't know. What if I give it an edge? And I make it a bit lighter and a bit bigger. Let's give it a 3. Let's give it a 10. Damn it. I think I've pushed the wrong one. Let me push this. And in the fill, this needs to be a bit less. Let's try to push this to a 15. Let's see. Feels okay-ish. Maybe... Nah, I messed it up. Maybe a 98. Nah, that's too much. 96 was okay. 95. Let's not be cheesy. And in this one, it's 94. Let's go with a 90 on this one. No, 93. Obviously, these details are almost incomprehensible, but I'm hoping to get a super powerful effect. Might be stronger, might be less, we shall see. Now, let's see, we want... So we have the moon, the melon sun. Now, let's focus on the first mountain, the Goliath. So I would do something like... Well, I would go in a little bit. And here we have to make small adjustments. Let's make it quite an interesting mountain. Have jaggedy edges and stuff. Maybe it's a fantasy world, who knows? We're gonna refine the edges as we go. Now, interestingly enough, peaks are not necessarily straight. I mean, pointy. We could do something interesting here and just create a double peak and create it a bit more robust. We can give some curves, not too many, but just enough to kind of make it feel like it's its own thing, you know. So we can make another drop over here. We're kind of following this general shape of this, but we're let's actually make it a bit larger in length. I don't know, I'm just going with my feelings here. Maybe a drop somewhere here. Maybe this. Let's do another drop. And if I do another peak like so, and then I do a drop, and here's the interesting part, they don't go like this, but they go, I don't know, something the lines of a bit more, well, maybe that's too much, something along the lines of this, and they meld into other mountains, I suppose. or hills or whatever. So we're gonna kind of give it this feeling over here. Let's say this is the first mountain. Yeah, I kind of like that shape. And what color should we give it? Well, it should be, it's the sunset, it does encompass some of this color. So, oh, we should remove the edge. Let me look through the references. A bit darker, something like so. Why don't we push it something towards this or this? This doesn't look too bad. Obviously, it's not gonna be the base color, but maybe I should push it darker. But it's not helping. We want it to keep it light, so pink. Let's keep it like so for now. And then we're gonna try to add extra details into this one and see what we can play with. Sometimes we can even add other elements. I don't know. I do not know. So for now, we're just gonna keep it like so. Might add a few more mountains, but let me think here. Because I kind of want to add a mountain over here as well. So maybe we can add something that goes. Let's put something like so. And I don't know, something that goes over the sun because the sun goes behind the mountains. Maybe I make this a bit lower and let's make it like this. Okay, close. Let's put it a bit under and give it a few shades darker. Now I'm thinking maybe the sun is too big. Let's lower the sun size. Maybe even lower it here. This one clearly will have to be far more lenient, like so. Now we don't have to add a lot of details all the time, but it does help. Let's see. What could I do to make it a more interesting aspect? Kind of want to leave a bit of space here for the clouds and the sky. So maybe I will push this one a tiny bit lower. That feels good. Maybe I'll. Oh, sorry. I'll squish it even harder, like so. Mm. And then maybe we can add another mountain somewhere here in the background. Well, but first I need to put more mountains in here. Let's see. There are some mountains that have kind of like plate tectonics remnants into them, like so. Sometimes. Uh, let's try like this. I'm gonna make this one a single peak. Let's go a little bit higher, like so. Because mountains are like where the tectonic plate is pushing the rock into each other, so it's raising the rock outwards. And weirdly enough, mountains are like the earth, and the mountains are like a sea, and entire mountains are gulped by the earth, by the mantle, and pushed down as well. So it kind of circles, well, over billions of years. But the rock formation of mountains is super interesting. Let's try to make something interesting here, like so. I don't know. I don't know. Again, a few shades darker. Pushing this one lower. Oh, come on, go behind. I'm gonna put all of you into the mountain group. Mountains. That doesn't look too shabby. Maybe it's a bit too flat. Too Melanie. Um, we'll add far more details than this, but I'm thinking what should we do? Thinking actually doing like a plateau somewhere on the background. Let's try it. So we could kind of get something maybe a little higher. A plateau of mountains means that the peaks are kind of. What if we do this a little bit more like so? It's like a unification of peaks all together, and they look plateauish. Uh, I don't know. It's going over the sun. We're going to push this one more back like this, maybe. And maybe it needs more topology. The other one. Let's put it so. Okay. Kind of interesting. But I think we need more. because right now we're missing. Let's try to add one, one in the further reaches. Actually, it should be the other way around because these are more colored, so it should be even more lighter on this side. They're closer to the sun, obviously. This is not too shabby. Okay. Maybe we'll raise the sun a bit here. Mm. Mm. Hmm. I'm thinking of making it taller so we have more, or maybe I'll lower this mountains a bit. They seem very high. We kind of want one mountain to dwarf the others. Maybe this one needs to be more linear and maybe even smaller. Maybe this one is too steep. Let's try to lower it. Well, maybe it's not steep, but it's looking okay. Maybe this one lower. It's starting to shape like something. I'm gonna disable the sketch because it's kind of getting in the way. I have a feeling that we need one more mountain over here. It's not enough. Never enough mountains. I don't know. Something. Let's check it. Whoa, 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 whoa. I don't know. Something like this. And a bit darker. Bam, bam, bam. Maybe we can lower some of these things. It doesn't look too bad. Maybe a little higher here. And lower here. Doesn't need to be perfect. It's our first draft. Yeah, maybe it's still too big. I feel, yeah, it's we need to dwarf. This one needs to dwarf everything. So let's push This one's even smaller. I don't even know how to set you up. Something like this. And I don't know. Maybe this one could be smaller like this, but raise and lower this one a bit. That doesn't look too shabby. Lower it like this. Maybe the sun can go a tiny bit smaller. Complicated stuff. It's starting to shape out like something. Kind of like this. Maybe this one a tiny bit lower. I'm gonna leave this space because it gives a lot of breathing room, and as you can see, it already feels composed enough. Huh. Interesting. Now we could mask some of the defects here, uh, especially here, by pushing in some forests and smaller hills and mountains. And I don't know. Okay, sorry about that. Let's see. Let's see the sky here. So it's gonna be kind of an orangey hue. I'm kind of thinking, should I do it incrementally? Or should I build colors upon colors? But I feel like it's not good enough. Um, because the sky can also have different compositions. So, interesting question. Could also push a little bit of blue to kind of mirror the one. I don't know. Let's see. So first of all, we're gonna go with a orangish yellow somewhere here in the sky. So it's gonna be behind the mountains, which for some reason they're not inside the mountain thing. So let's do, I don't know, I'm gonna do a blob like so. And let's push it into the yellowish orange, but it has to be light. And striking something like this. Yeah, that kind of looks good. And I'm gonna put this into the sky. Oh, what did I do? My mistake. Control G. Gonna call this skybox. For some reason it sounds good. And now I am unsure how to proceed from here. Because I could do, but we want to be clear and composed. So we don't want to put elements that are too diffuse or too jaggedy. So let's enlarge this. And we're gonna push this one towards... Oh, I'm sorry. I meant in the skybox. I'm gonna duplicate this. Make it bigger like so. Put it underneath this. And let's give it kind of a orange reddish, but something like so. So now I'm kind of curious. If I blur this, it kind of looks nice. It blends in quite beautifully. So I'm thinking of blending in colors like so. I'm gonna just add the ground. Maybe I'll just duplicate this. Where is it? Where is it? Where's the ground? This one. And why can't I see it? Okay, this has to be outside. And let's see. I want to duplicate this, make it bigger. And we're gonna push this color as something towards this. And we're gonna push it like so. I'm kind of digging this, but maybe we should mute this color a bit. And maybe I should make this one larger. Not by much, maybe this one a bit lower. I'm thinking, what if we do something sneaky here? What if we do something super sneaky? I'm gonna go something like this and blur it even lighter. Is it sneaky? Is it bad? 30 looks okay-ish. I don't know, maybe 50. No, 40. Kind of like that thing there to just pop up. Maybe this red is a bit too much. Let's kind of mute it. And this one maybe a little lighter. This one is too dark. And this one the same, more mute. Ah, that actually doesn't look too bad. And now, I don't know, let's just duplicate this, make it even larger, although I'm not sure I need to do it like so. And let's push this into a wild blue. Maybe a desaturated one, darker. A bit dark. Maybe this one a bit more desaturated. What if we push? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. And interesting. If we push this towards an aquamarine. And then behind it, we add. Let's just do another one. Ooh, that looks cute. But behind it, we just do a very dark one, like so. No blur. And we move it to the end. Oh, a little lower. Interesting. Maybe we can even. Well, maybe for this one I can push it stronger like so. And just leave this one like so. And the big one we push towards a very powerful darker blue. A navy dark blue or something like that. I kind of like this. Of course, it's personal taste. It's however you like it to place it. But it does look quite fulfilling of how it transcends through the sky. Okay, I can say that we're getting somewhere. I might just leave it here for now because, as I always do, my creation process has to take a lot of breaks. But I'm starting to see a pattern here and something we can play around with. This mountain looks a bit too flashy for my taste. Looks Arabian in style, but quite cool. Still, some interesting shapes. I love the overlapping. Maybe this one a bit darker. Just so we know it's a different mountain. Maybe this one a bit higher. Ah, not too shabby. Well, here less chaotic. Um, yeah, I kind of like the sun. The sun hits the perfect note, and I think this haze here helps a little. And maybe I blurred it a bit too much. Let's try to lower it to a 12. Yeah, 12 looks a bit more realistic. And it's kind of funny because it's circular, but it doesn't quite look circular. Well, obviously we melonified it. Now next time we're gonna do some of the forests to kind of mingle in this part. Obviously I need to place the river over here, and we'll have to figure it out how it all fits in. Well, the ground is more or less just as a template to see, but probably we're gonna kind of fuse the forest with the foreground here and the river somehow. We shall see. So it doesn't look so flat. Uh, Although I'm kind of curious what I will do with what are they called? Clouds. I have some ideas and they're just racing through my head, and I'm like, I want to do the clouds, but I can't because I have to do the river, the forests, the trees, and so on and so forth. I really, really hope it goes beautiful because in my mind it looks fantastic. Then again, I could be insane, who knows? We shall see. Hope you guys found some interesting techniques here to play around with. Uh, Clearly, we could play more with the sky and do some more interesting things. But I have so many cool ideas that maybe we can do with the what's it called? With the reflection of the river as well. That will be so epic. The ground is not over the mountains. Interesting. Let's put them like this so it doesn't cut through. I think we can delete this one. Looks like Windows XP background. I'm joking. Okay, guys, I'll stop admiring my own crazy work, and I'll catch you in the next episode when we'll do more details and forests and whatever you guys want. Stay awesome, stay safe, stay happy, and catch you next time. Bye 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 bye.